chance to seal it. It's done. It's Georgie Kelly. Rotherham United's pathway back to the championship is opening up.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast, emergency pod number 3. Yes, a positive one. Finally, some positive news to talk about. So what has been a horrendous 10 days or so. Matt Taylor has been confirmed as Rotherham United manager, eventually. There was plenty of delay towards it, but we're finally there, finally got the man, and we're just going to give us basically instant reaction to how it's gone, and then we will go from there. I'll give you what heads up. I'm going to allow you to redo your predictions that you gave us on Sunday as well, bearing in mind the appointment has gone through. So have a think about that. We'll do that towards the end of the show. We have got loads of people with us. S64 Miller, Neil Liversidge is watching Liverpool Rangers while listening to us. John C's with us, saying he's very happy. Paul Brock, hello everybody. Are we happier tonight? I think we are. Evening gentleman from the YouTube user says we got our man. Yes, we definitely did. Loads of people with us tonight. So, but also, Mick, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Are you?
I'm pretty happy, to be honest with you. Yeah, been a good day finally. Danny, how's your Tuesday been?
My Tuesday has been absolutely fantastic. Made even better by Matt Taylor's appointment. But I tell you what, it makes it even better that he's just scored for Oxford.
Which one? There's not that many Matt Taylors going around.
Well, Matt Taylor at Oxford has just scored, so it's an evening full of Matt Taylors tonight, isn't it?
He's been busy. He's a busy boy. So yeah, let's go through sort of the it's not the storyline, the order of how things happened. Obviously, we finished recording our last episode Sunday evening, and the talk was that he was still Matt Taylor was still weighing up his options. It basically transpired on Monday that he had already decided he was going to come to Rotherham United. For one reason or another, it didn't get announced on Monday, which sent us all into panic, as you'd expect. Bear in mind our recent history, I understand the panic that everybody went through, to be honest with you. And then it took until 5 o'clock on Tuesday, for some technical issues, I think. But Mick finally got his man. Took us time in terms of getting it over the line. Once we knew it was him, it took us time to get over the line, but these things happen. I think something to do with the goalkeeping coach has caused the problems. But just initial thoughts on Matt Taylor becoming our boss, Rotherham United's boss.
Yeah, I would have thought it. I would have thought that we'd go out, get somebody and be successful at it without, it's great. It's great news. Really impressed from what I've seen of him so far. I've watched the interviews that he's done, or listened to the interviews that he's done. And he looks a really, really promising manager. And to be fair, I mean, it looks like business as usual, doesn't it?
Mm.
That seems to be the theme that's running through the interviews, certainly. So it's a really, really good appointment.
Seems so. Danny, how many times throughout the delay were you worried that things had gone wrong and we were going to Mark Bonner it again?
I can reveal that my false panic was indeed false, because I've had inside knowledge that Taylor was coming to Rotherham for quite some time.
You said that now.
Yeah, I say that now, but to be honest, honestly, yesterday it were a bit. We may have coughed this up by doing something silly, but now Matt Taylor's a great appointment for us. He suits our system. He operates it very, very similar. And he's probably the best up and coming young manager other than Paul Warne, I think. And yeah, he's moved up a league. He's going to try and stabilise us in the championship and push us on. And he's got a great track record of developing players and making them into high fee players, if you like. I'm very, very excited to see what Matt Taylor does with Rotherham United, because he could be the man who takes us to the next level. I really, really do believe that.
Don't use that word as well.
And by next level, I don't mean the Premier League, before anybody starts getting too excited. Next level being mid-table championship stable,
Well, he's already mentioned the Premier League. I don't know whether Tony's told him to mention it this time rather than Tony mentioning it, to be honest. But we already had the mention of the Premier League. It's good that he's ambitious, I suppose. But I suppose we've also got to temper our expectations, which I think he is probably aware of as well. A couple of bits of information. He's the first Matt or Matthew to manage Rotherham United. Pointless stat, but it's factual.
It's one people like that, though, obviously.
More Matts around, the better, I think. I've always said that. And he's the youngest manager we've had since Andy Scott. Matt Taylor's 40 years, and obviously some days Andy Scott, I had it written down, I think it was a 37 or something like that. Hopefully it goes better than it did for Andy Scott, because that didn't go very well.
No, it didn't.
Michael Carnell says, good evening, lads. Mr. Taylor sounds very positive. His interview, looking forward to seeing him in action. Jerry Simpson's asked, did Danny know if he was doing training? Danny doesn't work at Rowan anymore, so Danny's not our inside man there anymore, disappointingly. But from our understanding, yes, Matt Taylor has already taken training for both Monday and Tuesday, which is key, Mick, really. If he rocked up tomorrow morning, being his first day with the players, I'll give him a bit of a lift, but he's already had a chance to look at the players, see, not only for him to impart his ideas on them, but for him to see and look at him in the flesh and say, right, he's good, he's X, Y, and Z, he's in a bit of form, whatever. I think that's really important that he took a couple of days training, even if the announcement was officially delayed.
Yeah, definitely, because it gives him the opportunity to the players the opportunity to get to know him as well, to get to know what they're getting into, and to understand his sort of ethos, if you like. And like I just said earlier on, it would appear that it's business as usual. So there's certainly some continuity there in terms of what he expects of his players and how he treats his players. So it's this modern style, isn't it? Of I can't see many air dryers being thrown. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem to be that kind of relationship with players, which has got to be a positive. It has to be a positive, really. So certainly with the staff that we've got. But yeah, it was important just to get those couple of days under the belt, so they get to know each other. You know, I think turning up tomorrow morning on Wednesday morning would have been a bit of a nightmare, and I don't think that would have worked. So it's good that the club have again taken some positive action and got it sorted one way or another. It might not have been the official announcement that everybody was hoping for on, I don't know, 6 o'clock on Saturday night after he had his interview on BBC Radio Devon, but you know they've done the right thing, and despite everything that's been said, for me, they're blameless for anything that's gone wrong, and I don't think anything has gone wrong actually, but you know what I mean. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think, in my view, they've dealt with it very, very professionally and very well.
Yeah, fair enough. He also said in his interview, Danny, that he had essentially he had to give something back to Exeter in terms of taking the game on Saturday. He basically implied it was very important for him to take that sort of final game, put everything into that game for Exeter, and then once it finished, he basically interviewed that everything his thought then was Rotherham United. And I think that's a mark of the character, the mark of the man that he wanted to sort of give one last thing to Exeter. No, they only drew, but he didn't just leave him in the lurch on Friday before the game. He took the game, did it properly, and then moved on. I think that impresses me, to be honest with you. Integrity.
He shows a level of professionalism, but also respect to Exeter, being the man that took them out of the division out of League Two and has got them performing very well in League One. It's just a mark of respect, not just for the Exeter fans, but also for the staff that he is leaving behind now that him and Wayne Carlisle have come up here. It's a shame he didn't get his 100th win with Exeter.
Is that what we missed?
I think if he'd have beaten Bristol Rovers, that would have been his 100th win as Exeter manager. So that's a little bit of a shame, but you know, maybe Exeter fans will look at that in the same way that we look at Paul Warne. He might be back one day, and then maybe he can get that 100th win, for example. He just seems like a good bloke, doesn't he? he comes across as a man who knows his football and knows what he wants to get out of the players and where he wants to take the team, but also that nice human being thing as well. So I think he'll get the Rotherham United ethos very, very quickly, and the players will warm to him very quickly. I'm just excited now. I'm excited for tomorrow at Millwall game because I want to see him in dugout. But can I just say it's quite frightening how much Wayne Carlisle looks like Paul Warne.
Isn't it just?
That's frightening. I don't know if you've seen on Twitter some of the responses, but I've been absolutely howling with some of the responses on Twitter. I've seen Paul Warne from Wish, which might be a disservice to Wayne Carlisle. My favourite one is, I think it's from Will RUFC. I think his Twitter handle is. It just says Paul ? But yeah, that might be why there's been such a hold up. It's Twitter banter compensation for Wayne Carlisle. Okay, but no. Anyway, they're a good team down there. I've got information from my Exeter mate that they are a solid team, a little bit like Warney's team when he was here. So yeah, it'll be a very, very professional but strong working relationship in the dugout, which again I'm looking forward to seeing.
Mike Miller says integrity and honesty from our new boss, great values. Can be somewhat scarce these days. Yeah. Another comment, which is a take. What his coaching staff are to follow it later. His full coach, so he's done the right thing, not stripping the club clean, unlike some people. I don't know what you're suggesting, but yeah, apparently we'll sort of cover what the hold-up was. Apparently, the hold-up is that the main thing is the goalkeeping coach. Apparently, Exeter's goalkeeping coach is their second choice keeper, so we can't just take him. There's then the playing side of his contract. You can't deal with it. He can't transfer to Rotherham as a player because he's under contract, and obviously we're outside the transfer window. I mean, if we're going to bring him in January as a goalkeeper, that's going to make 4 goalkeepers, which is interesting. I don't know how that's going to work exactly. Obviously, we'll that's something Matt Till will need to deal with because we're pretty set in the goalkeeping department. See how that goes. On his interviews, very, very impressive person. In the way he speaks. It seems to be the new breed of manager. I says to my wife as I was listening to it, I can't imagine Steve Evans having that type of interview. It's very possible. Steve Evans obviously was extremely successful this football club, but he never had an interview like that. There was never an explanation of X, Y, and Z. It was always about Steve Evans and understanding that's his method, which worked. Yeah. But this, and when we looked at Mark Bonner, when we thought Mark Bonner would come out and start listening to some of his interviews, this seems to be the modern method and the new way that football managers communicate in public. And it just sells fans. I feel like it sells fans a lot. I was so impressed.
It certainly sells me. I like it because it straight away, you look at his background and look how educated he is. And not just sort of, he ain't got a degree in, sort of interpretive dance. You know what I mean? He's in there with qualifications that fit the role that he's performing, and qualifications to an incredibly high level. He's got a master's degree, and I mean it's ridiculous in terms of the level of education. So, he's clearly a man who's serious and dedicating his life to the role that he's carrying out. So straight away you're onto a winner there. If you can add into that the personality that seems to be coming across from him, and crucially for me, the personality that's described by the supporters of the club that he's leaving. It seems like a win-win. Couple that again, add into the mix there that is, all right, he's from Lancashire, but he's a northern lad. You know what I mean? And he's clearly a straight talker. Yeah. There's no question about that. When we talked before we started, there's no rambling, there's no sort of going off at tangents like Warney used to. He's straight to the point, and I think that'll serve him well in his relationship with chairman as well, because the chairman, he's a straight talker. He don't beat around the bush, does he? You know what I mean? Again, obviously it's early days with 2 hours into his reign, essentially. Yeah. All the pointers are very, very positive, very positive.
Very positive, and that's one of the things he kept emphasising, Danny, in his interviews about it being a northern town, a working class town, and he clearly understands the club. This is not a club where it's in a working class town and the people that support the club are upper class or anything like this. This is a proper working class club supported by the working class and everything else. And what do Rotherham fans want? We want to see you work hard. We want to see you run and play and try and entertain if you can. But work hard and try and win the game. And that's key to understand. Each club has their own ethos. Every club is unique. And the Rotherham United ethos is work hard for us. And that came out very clear from what he was saying, that's clearly very important to him.
Yeah, he's quite clearly clued up on the club and its values and, what the fans expect, shall we say, attitude-wise. But yeah, it's great to see a manager who's done his research on the club, knows what they're all about, knows the direction they want to go, but also knows the fan base, because it proves that he is buying into the club for not just the duration of his contract, but probably for the longer term as well. Yeah, hit the nail on the head right there. It's a working class club, working class town. A football town, as some people would describe it, because football is more prominent than any other sport around here in terms of not only level but also probably fan base size as well. And yeah, he's bought into it. Exeter's very similar to Rotherham, and I think the reason Exeter has a bigger fan base is because it is so isolated. And we've got the city round us and everything like that. So similar values, shall we say. So he's bought into it just to change of paint and badge. But he's applying his rules to us. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he delivers. Really looking forward to it. I want it to be Wednesday now. I don't want to go to uni. I want to go straight to the game tomorrow.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It seems to be it's obviously not universal approval, Mick. I know for a fact there'll be a few people not happy because he's not Sean Dyche or whoever. Chris Wilder's free. I get that. But for the most part, it has been very positive, the reaction of the fans. And again, you don't always get that with an appointment. It's often, there's often large parts that will go X, Y, and Z because I don't like him or whatever. It's very positive. You look on social media, it's almost all positive from Exeter fans of it as well. But from Rotherham fans sort of accepting that this is an appointment in the right direction. Yeah,
well, it is. That's why. It's I've got to be. I need to. I'm trying to temper what I say because if we lose tomorrow night, come Thursday morning, somebody will be moaning about it.
If we win, they'll still find something to moan about.
Well, yeah, and I guess that's just the nature of the beast nowadays, and it is what it is, and social media being what social media is, there's nothing you can do about that. That will happen. It's inevitable. But yeah, it is overwhelmingly positive at the moment, and so it should be.
Yeah, I agree.
And without wanting to be an happy clapper, the way the club have dealt with this, in my view, despite everything that's been said, has been excellent. They've identified a target. They went and tried to get him. He didn't want to come because he's doing his dream job or whatever it is, whatever his reasoning behind it was. So they've then gone to the next one on the list and they've gone and got him. And they've been absolutely professional about it. And you look at the information that comes out of Exeter and they've described the behaviour of Rotherham United as impeccable. Everything about it just screams professional. And I know, here we go again, that Mick bloke just singing praises of everybody. We've got the person that we wanted to get, and we've got him on a decent deal. We've done the job properly, and we've got him in before the next game. And I don't know. It's positive for me. Everything about it is positive, from the appointment itself to the way it's been conducted. Happy days.
Happy clapper.
Happy clapper. Absolutely.
Yeah, Brian Vernon said absolutely chuffed. Taylor's come. So glad Bono stayed where he is. What a lovely look it seems to be. John Tyler's a Barnsley fan. Congratulations on getting the man from Exeter. Good luck for the rest of the season. Michael Carnell says, I'll get it in early, but Matty Taylor out. Yeah, like what I'm looking forward to. Like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing him. Yeah, Brian Allett agrees with Mick as well. Look at Mick.
I know.
Mr. Positive.
Trying to talk sense.
To be fair, Danny, had Matt Taylor not said anything on Saturday evening, there would have almost certainly been no rumours on Monday for us all to get panicked about it not happening. It was all really down to that interview which caused the anxiety. Again, Mick's probably right. It's not our club's fault. It's Matt Taylor for coming out, which he probably shouldn't have done.
Yeah, I think it might actually show how honest he is, to be fair. They've asked him the question and he's been open and honest about it. And then that's when the whole wild speculation started, when's he going to arrive, this, that, and other. It's actually turned into the worst kept secret in football. Very unfortunate with the supporters' trust uploading it and then having to take it down very quickly. That was a mess up on someone's end. And probably just got it uploaded early and wasn't told not to upload it at that time because there was probably a lot more to sort out, as we've noticed, because it's taken until 5 o'clock today to officially announce it. But yeah, this interview is a sign of things to come, I think. I think he'll be very open and honest. I think if we've played poorly, he will say we've played poorly. He won't try and sugarcoat it, which I think is what fans want to hear. Yeah. They want to be reassured that it's not just them that's seen us play poorly. And the manager said, actually, we were done all right. But then I think if we play spectacularly, he'll sing our praises until the sun sets. Which is what you really want in an up-and-coming manager. You want that open and honest approach and not that weathered, I'll keep you all at arm's length sort of approach. Yeah. And I think that's another reason why Tony decided to go young. He is young for a manager. He's only 40. But plenty to build off, I think.
Yeah. Phil Rollinson says, is Warnock coming as Tony Tight Pants coughed up? Saw Steve Evans in Kanklow, Kentucky today. No, none of that. Jalen Simpson in terms of training, he can lay down his expectations and they are embedded before the game tomorrow. That's it. Yeah, exactly. And he's not just coming in on date game to give a team talk. He's got something to back up what his team talk's going to be. It's not just talk. It's going to be football talk, which is good. Jamie says, really looking forward to seeing how he does. Feels like a breath of fresh air, like when we appointed Danny to New York Talk.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thanks, Jamie. Is that a dig at me and Mick, or
it's probably justified, to be fair.
It probably is, to be fair. Oliver Darnell says, anybody that thinks we could afford to attract Wilder Dyche needs to give their head a wobble. Yeah. But also, you take the other side of the thing. We want an up-and-coming. We want a manager who's hungry. We want a manager who wants to prove himself. Either those come to Rotherham United. They're at a different stage in their career, and that's not what we need at the minute. We need somebody who is hungry, who is ambitious. But it could be brilliant. We don't know yet, do we, mate?
The thing is, Sean, the point you make there is absolutely right. Sean Dyche is at a completely different end of his career, or way through his career, not the end of his career, but you know what I mean. And he's got nothing to learn necessarily. So from an ambition point of view, that kind of puts him a little bit on the back foot in terms of people like Matt Taylor and Mark Bonner and people like that, because he's been there, he's seen it, he's done it, he's got nothing left to prove. So the motivation then comes down to what is motivating him? Money, because he ain't going to get that here, obviously. Premier League football, the chances of him getting that here on a budget that we've got are pretty slim. You know what I mean? Yeah. And likewise with Chris Wilder, he's a different kind of manager. Yeah, he's of that younger manager bracket, if you like, but his expectations are going to be completely different, and therefore, as a result, possibly his level of ambition may or may not be different. I don't know. For me, this out of the three, if you counted Dyche, Wilder, and Matty Taylor, for me, the one that we've got, the manager that we've appointed, is probably the most progressive out of those three.
That's absolutely true, I think.
As arguably anyway, and I know I could be shot down for that, and I would probably agree with what anybody said, but it just feels like we're trying to be forward thinking. We're trying to sort of not go down that old school route of a tried and tested manager. let's try something new.
Yeah,
let's be innovative.
Agreed. Sean Grease says surprised that Tony gave him a 4-year deal. Yeah, it's essentially a 4-year deal. It goes to 2026. Well, obviously partway through 2022, but a 3.5-year deal, 4-year deal, whatever you want to call it. It's a commitment from both sides. It's a big commitment. So let's see where we are. I said to you two, you can have a redo of your prediction for tomorrow night for Wednesday night's game. I'll recap. Mick, you at 1-1. Do you want to keep you 1-1, or has Matt Taylor's positivity got you in the mood for a win?
Yeah, it has.
Okay.
It has. I'm with 2-0.
2-0. Big change. I'll
Big
keep
change.
your original prediction written down so we can laugh at you. And
Yeah. No, that's fine, mate.
Danny, you had 1-0 to the Millers. Would you like to keep 1-0, or do you?
I think if I think if Taylor had just come in today and had no prep, I would have trusted him on the touchline to probably grind out that 1-0. But I have been told that he took training today and yesterday, so he has got a little bit of time with the players, like giving them his outlines and taking them for a training session. So I'm going to bump it up to a 2-0.
Ooh, copycats. Like it. I will bump mine. I went 0-0, so I will go to a 1-0. This is what he does. Gives you positivity.
It's a new manager bounce thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm thinking of. Phil Oakley's put in the comments there, you've got to give him a chance. And absolutely, I don't think any of us can expect that he's just going to come in, hit ground running and put us top at league by Christmas. It's not going to happen.
No.
I think we're all realistic enough to know that it's going to be a tough slog and we're going to lose some games and it may end up under pressure for a certain period of time. That's the nature of football and new managers coming into new clubs. You have a little bit of a boost and then reality kicks in. So, I'm not sort of suggesting for a minute that this lad's the be all and end all. However, on the face of it, it's a step in the right direction.
It is, and what we always say with new managers is they certainly get my blind faith straight away.
But Matt, you were panicking on Sunday night.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But whenever a new manager comes in, you've got, as a fan, you've almost got to give him your blind faith because that's what your job is. You talk about jobs as supporters. Our job is to support him straight away.
Yeah.
Our job's not really to question him at this point because he's not done anything wrong. I mean, from the off, we need positivity from him. So I always start from other than Steve Evans. I've always, even on Stubbs, Kenny Jackett, there was always a start point of positivity. And for me, Matt Taylor's no different.
You look back to Alan Stubbs and his first 45 minutes in charge of Rotherham United.
Amazing.
One of the best performances I can remember seeing from a Rotherham United side against Wolves. It was unbelievable. And then it just nosedive from that point onwards. But let's just concentrate on that first 45. Great manager, man.
Philip Rawson says, hi, time will tell. More excited with disappointment than any other so-called experienced manager on the merry-go-round. Chris Page says, hopefully does better than the last 40th manager with Mr. Stubbs. Yes. Did you know he managed Alan Stubbs' son at Exeter?
No.
Did he?
He's Sam. Is it Sam Stubbs? Something like that? Oh, well, I should check that. Maybe it's, maybe we can bring another Stubbs to the club and it'd be better than his.
Here's a question. You know how Chio spent a little bit of time at Exeter? Does it just overlap with Matt Taylor? That is my question.
Now you're asking. I will find out.
Because if it just overlaps with him as manager, then Chio's got a familiar face coming in as manager. But if they've just missed each other, he might have been there with the coaching staff.
When did Matt Taylor take over?
2018, I think it was.
When in 2018?
Oh, okay. Right.
He managed.
We are getting the trusty Wikipedia up, ladies and gents.
I think Matt Taylor signed Chio on loan. Matt Taylor signed Chio Ogbeni on loan for Exeter.
Did he?
He did.
Wow. Right, that's Chio's new contract in the post. Sorted, signed, delivered. Absolutely.
Chio spent a season on loan, but only played 14 times in the league. So didn't get the best out of him.
But look at the player Chio is now. I think now that he's a much more mature footballer and probably a much better footballer, he'll keep Chio up top, won't he?
So what we're saying is we're taking it all back about Warney. Chio's got Matt Taylor to thank for his career. Is that what we're saying?
I think Chio's just got that familiar face that he'll know. You know, I think his time at Exeter was good for him, for his development, and I can't really imagine Chio having beef with anybody at all because he's Chio.
Just smiling.
Yeah, so that's a nice little connection, like them two linking back up after 4 years and in a completely different situation to the one he was in at Exeter, which is quite a nice football symmetry. And we talk about it all the time.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Any other points you want to make on this? It's an instant reaction type thing. Anything else you want to cover on any points you want to talk about from a Matt Taylor point of view or an appointment process point of view? Anything else?
I think we're done, aren't we? I mean, we've talked this to death for 10 days now, and we've got the outcome that we wanted realistically. So it's now move on. Let's get on. You know, Warney's gone. We've binned that off now. We've now got a new man in charge. We can bin that off now. Let's start talking about performances on the pitch and staying in this league and doing better than that. You know, we need to be looking at better than just staying in this league, even this season for me. And I genuinely believe that with the squad that we've got, if he can get a tune out of this squad, just staying in this league is way below what our expectations should be. That's my view, but then that's not changed. That's not changed because we've got a new manager. I've thought that and said that for the last few weeks now. So hopefully, like I said, first thing, the continuity of management style will allow this team to kick on.
Interesting, Danny. Any final thoughts?
Just a couple. Number one, Matt Taylor did his degree at Sheffield Hallam, and I'm at Sheffield Hallam. So if you want to get in touch, I'd be happy to have a little interview for uni. You know, just DM me on Twitter. It's fine. But secondly, one thing I'm not apprehensive about, but more curious about is how he'll manage the Rotherham dip in form that happens between February and March, like nearly every season.
Was that Paul Warne?
That's what I'm going to get at.
Yeah.
Was that Paul Warne running and ragged, and then they're just out of gas at that point? And will it happen under Matt Taylor? I know it's like if and will it or whatever, but if it does happen, it'll be interesting to see how he deals with it. And if he changes it, like he changes the formation to better suit it or whatever, or if it doesn't happen at all, it could have been a previous manager thing. But that's something I'm curious about to see what happens with it.
Yeah, I agree. That's very interesting. Very, very interesting point. We won't know that till the end of the season, but yeah, I agree. Very interesting how the team's dynamic and how the progression is affected. Couldn't agree more, Danny. That's a very interesting point. So we will end it there. Thank you all who have joined us on the Instant Reaction. Please do subscribe to YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're creeping up to 750. So if we're on 749. So if you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe. We want to get to 750, just because why not? That'd be lovely. Please do follow us on Twitter. If you haven't followed us on Twitter yet, do so on there. We ain't going to put any more teasing tweets out now, which I'm very happy about. That was training. Please do us on Facebook as well, because we're on Facebook as well. If you want to listen to the audio podcasts, they're out Friday morning and Monday morning. Our Instant Reaction will be out after the game against Millwall. That'll be one of us, two of us, and if we can find anybody else as well, we'll get them in and all. Straight after the game, that'll be out Wednesday evening. Go on, Mick. You're going to put a clever comment on
it. Just see if there's any Arsenal fans walking by. We can drag I'm sorry, it's not fair. Stop it.
No, it will come in, but it's fine.
I need to start watching Arsenal fan TV and pick up some mannerisms so it makes people feel at home.
Mick, Danny, thank you for being available for the emergency podcast. Thank you for dropping in exactly what you're doing. And I'll see you both tomorrow, but I'll see you on Thursday evening for the next podcast as well.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Cheers.
Bye. Bye, Taylor.
Ravel, ambitious.